Hey guys, and welcome to French for a Day. This is my little corner on YouTube where I'm sharing with you my French beauty secrets. I post a new video every Saturday. Today we're talking about the French diet, why the food in France is so good and the people are so thin. I'm going to share with you my take on the French diet, and I'm also going to share with you some French lifestyle tips that you could easily incorporate in your daily life that are going to help you to maintain healthy weight. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we start, I would like to make a little disclaimer. The purpose of this video is to learn something new about the French culture while having fun at the same time. The whole idea is to lift each other up and to take all of the positives from the French lifestyle and try to adopt it to our own lifestyles, because every country has its own lifestyle, they have their own habits. It's a fact that statistically France is the country that has the lowest rates of obesity, and this all comes with the habits. So we're going to try and understand the habits of the French people, why they don't gain weight, and what we can take away for ourselves. If you have any tips that you would like to share in the comment section below, please share them. We have a very positive community, but one thing that you have to understand is that everyone has a completely different body structure, and you have to be okay with the body structure that you have. You have to celebrate that and you have to be happy with it. Here, we're not really talking about diets, starving ourselves. We're talking about maintaining a healthy weight, and what is going to be a healthy weight for my body shape and type might not be the same for you. So this is just something that I wanted to address, because when we think about France, we usually are going to think about Paris, which is the fashion capital of the world, and people sometimes start thinking about this really thin models on the runways. So this is not what we are talking about here. The fashion industry can be cruel to those girls, and these girls are usually international. In cities like Paris, Milan, most of the people that you're going to see, all of these models, they do not represent the nation. So I would say that as a person who used to live in France, I have the experience that French people actually have a very healthy lifestyle. They have a very balanced diet. They don't diet, but they stay slim because of their whole lifestyle. And let's go. In France, they don't eat processed food and over-processed food. Everything is a lot more simple, everything is fresh, and they cook from scratch. I know that this is time-consuming, but in France you're going to find amazing restaurants and also takeouts, where basically the food is cooked from scratch. So you're really going to be able to feel the flavors. Now, I think that number of the meals is very important, and French usually are going to eat 4 times per day, sometimes 3, but most of them are going to eat 4 times per day. They're going to have a good breakfast, and surprise here, I love having croissant for breakfast. However, French are really going to have a good breakfast. They are not going to have croissant. Well, if it's a special occasion or if you are celebrating something, or if you are having a special day, yes, you may treat yourself, you may eat a good croissant. But even if they eat a croissant, it takes a lot of time to make a French croissant. Trust me on that. And the croissant in France is very different from the croissant in Italy, in other countries in Europe. It's very different from the croissants that you have in the US as well. However, French usually are not going to eat a croissant for breakfast. They're going to have a nice, nutritious breakfast. And then with the breakfast, they're usually going to have just espresso as a coffee. So again, one of the biggest differences between France and the US, French usually are going to have more simple flavors. They cook the food from scratch, but everything is a lot more simple than it is in the US. And the products don't have as much sugar. Let's say in the US, most of the bread, it's very hard actually in the US to find bread that does not contain sugar. Whereas in France, you have a lot of little shops, the so-called boulangerie, and they're going to bake the bread so it doesn't have sugar. It's not as soft as the bread that you're going to have in other countries. It's not as soft. It is crunchy. It is good for your stomach. It's good for your gut, and it does not contain sugar. Next comes the coffee drinks. French usually like their coffee a lot more simple. They're just going to have a simple espresso. Most of the time, they're not going to have sugar with the espresso. And they rarely are going to drink cappuccino and latte and all this kind of special coffees that are very famous in other countries, just because it's really expensive for starters, and then it's not as delicious as it is in the US. In the US, you have a lot of cream, a lot of flavors, a lot of toppers in the coffee, and this all adds a lot of sugar, a lot of calories, whereas you're literally, if you have a pumpkin spice latte, let's say, if you start your day with a pumpkin spice latte, wow, imagine this is like a whole breakfast, like a whole nutritious breakfast, only your pumpkin spice latte, not to mention the other products that you're going to eat for breakfast. Moving on to lunch, and I think that this is one of the most important meals for French. They are going to have some time, they are going to spend time to really appreciate and enjoy their lunch. I know that this is something that is not very common in other countries, but they're usually going to have a longer lunch break and they are going to have a nice lunch. So lunch is probably the biggest meal in France. This is the meal where you're really going to have a nice portion. You are going to enjoy a very nice meal and you're going to take your time to enjoy the flavors, to enjoy your plate, how it was made, to enjoy all of the colors that you see in your plate along with the flavors, and you're going to really take your time while chewing and eating the food. French never eat fast, whereas in other countries people are usually going to eat very fast. Well, if you eat very fast, you're most probably going to overeat because you don't let your brain to have the time to think and tell you when it's full. Whereas when you eat slowly, you're going to be able to see and notice when you're getting full, and they never overeat. So this is a big thing in France. And it's a myth that French people always have a glass of wine. No, they don't, not all the time. If it's a special occasion, yes, they are going to have a glass of wine, but they are usually going to have a glass of wine that is a very high quality wine, but they're not going to do it on a daily basis. So most often they're going to have still water with their lunch. They don't have sodas. Then moving on to the afternoon snack. French people usually are not going to snack throughout the day because they eat quality food that makes them feel full. If you eat a lot of processed food, and in general, if you eat foods that contain sugar, it's going to make you feel hungry and you are going to crave more sugar. That's how processed food is made. It's made to not fill you for a long period of time, but it's made in a way that it makes you crave more. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. That's the whole idea of processed food. And that's why I never actually have anything processed at home. Now, as I start thinking, I actually don't remember the last time when I had canned food at home. So I don't have canned food and I don't buy anything that is packed, that comes in a package. I don't buy anything that I should heat in a microwave oven. I don't use a microwave oven actually, because when I cook at home, I cook a lot and I cook everything from scratch. I use a lot of fruits and vegetables. Now, one of the most important tips and one of the most important reasons why French are so thin is that they eat soup regularly, and soup doesn't give you a lot of calories. If it's cooked properly, it's going to make you feel full, and they eat a lot of vegetables and fruits as well. So there is going to be a light afternoon snack around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but this is not going to be a snack that contains a lot of calories. It's just going to, it could be just a fruit or a fruit salad. It is going to be something very light just to help you get to the dinner. And then dinner, again, this is going to be like a social event. They are going to enjoy the dinner. They are going to have some time to appreciate all of the flavors, and the whole meal is not going to be as generous as the lunch because the dinner is always going to be lighter compared to the lunch. Snack and drinks during the day. One of the main differences between France and the rest of the world is that French people don't snack during the day because the quality of the food is really good and they have nice nutritious meals during the day. So that's why they don't feel hungry during the day and they don't feel the need to have a snack during the day. So this is something that I've noticed in other countries, is that people are always usually going to eat something on the go. This is something that French people never do. They don't eat on the go. You're not going to see someone just eating something on the go or drinking something on the go. Now, when I first visited the US, I was very surprised to see, it was something new for me, to see actually everyone walking with a cardboard cup, carrying coffee or sodas or anything. Like almost every second person was carrying this cup, almost like a fashion accessory. Well, French people don't do that. French people are going to sit down in a cafe. They are going to enjoy their coffee in a porcelain cup. And to be honest, this is something that I could not understand, and I could not, until today, I could never have coffee in a cardboard cup, because somehow to me it tastes different. If I drink coffee or cappuccino or any other drink, I need to sit on a table and I need to have it in a porcelain cup. I need to enjoy it while watching other people or while having a nice view. Otherwise, it's not going to be a pleasure for me to have coffee on the go. So I never, for example, I never have coffee on the go, because it just, I don't know, I don't feel the pleasure of having coffee in cardboard cup, on these cups that are on the go. So as you can probably see, it is not really about diet, it's about creating healthy habits and sticking to them. French people are usually going to have a very healthy lifestyle. The food, the drinks, they are going to have a very healthy lifestyle, and this comes from their childhood, because they have almost like food education when they are little children. They're not allowed to eat sweets, candies, sodas. These are usually things that are going to be forbidden. It's not really popular in France, and that's why French people are usually not going to crave sodas or sweets or processed food. They don't understand processed food and they don't enjoy processed food. So that's why they don't crave it. I know that if you did not grow up in France, this could be a little bit tricky and this could be hard. I have to say that I actually tried Kentucky Fried Chicken for the first time when I started dating my partner, the love of my life. Before that, I've never tried Kentucky Fried Chicken and I've never tried processed food for real, I have to say. And since I would say that my food education more or less was exactly like French kids. It was very much French. So that's why when I started living in France, I could easily adapt to their culture and I didn't find their eating habits strange at all. I found it very strange when I started dating my partner, because he was going to eat like a croissant or candy bars for breakfast, which was like a shock for me. And then the Kentucky Fried Chicken, again, a shock for me. I don't like it. And all kinds of burgers. Most of the time, I'm not going to like the taste of it and the taste of processed food. I just don't like it. I don't crave it. And I never crave sodas as well. I remember actually the other day, I always mention pumpkin spice latte, and this actually comes from the time when I was in the US. I acquired the habit of liking this kind of more special coffees. However, the other day when I ordered a pumpkin spice latte at my local Starbucks, I didn't actually like it. I had a few sips and I threw it away because it was way too sweet for me. It was way too, almost felt like processed, almost felt like unnatural to me. So it's all about creating the habits. If you do not have the habits from a child, it's going to be a little bit harder to adjust to a more healthy lifestyle. But here I'm going to share with you some tips on how you can start and how you can try to adjust and adopt a more healthy lifestyle. Now, a word on sports. French people work a lot. They are usually quite busy. They also like to take their time during meals, such as lunch and dinner. They don't usually have a lot of time for sports. Like, let's say in Italy, jogging is very popular and everyone is going to be running. Almost like every other day. It's a big thing in Italy. In France, not that much, but of course Italians have different eating habits, French have different eating habits, so I definitely feel confident to speak mostly about France and Italy, and there are serious differences between the two countries. French, I would say that they don't do sports very often. Some of them exercise, but not all the time. And most of the time, they do not rely on exercise. They rely on healthy lifestyle and their eating habits. It's just that the quality of food is so good that even if you eat a lot, you're not going to gain as much. Now, a few takeaways here and how we can benefit from the French lifestyle, what we can adopt in our own lifestyles. This is all going to depend on your personal lifestyle and what you're willing to do. Apparently, if you were not born in France and if you didn't grow up in France, it's going to be a little bit harder to adjust and to change some of the habits and to feel comfortable adopting the French lifestyle. However, there are some changes that we can all do. And the first one, I would say to everyone, always look for the amount of sugar that you are eating per day. And even in the bread, even in the drinks, because often we're going to eat bread that contains a lot of sugar. So your bread ideally should be freshly baked from a bakery. And there, the bread does not contain sugar. It's usually not going to last as long. So if you buy a bread, it's only going to be good for 24 hours. And then it's going to become hard, it's going to become unpleasant to eat. That's how you're going to understand that you have the real bread that was made from scratch and that doesn't contain any additives and it doesn't contain sugar. It's also going to be good for your gut health. Now, the next thing is, if you can change your habits about the soft drinks that you are having during the day and the coffee drinks, because oftentimes people are going to have a few cups of coffee per day. And if you have just plain espresso coffee with no sugar, that's going to be perfectly fine. But imagine, let's say, starting the day with a nice foamy cappuccino, how many calories this is going to have. If we add some flavor like pumpkin or caramel or any other thing, choose whatever you like. But adding a flavor to your coffee drink, it's going to add sugar. So this is going to add calories. And can you do without it? I think you can, because it's a matter of habit. It's a matter of habit to enjoy just a nice, rich espresso, to really enjoy the flavor and have it more simple than if you add sugar, if you add cream. This is all adding a lot of calories. And also, how many coffees are you going to have per day that are going to have cream and sugar and different flavor? So this is a huge thing. If you can cut down on this sugar from the coffee, I think that is going to be very good long term for your body and for your health. You're going to intake less sugar per day. So the bread, the coffee are two easy changes that I believe everyone can do. And also sodas. So having a lot of sodas during the day is going to make you feel bloated, and also it's packed with a lot of sugar. So just try to avoid sodas when you can, because I think that it's a matter of habit. When I started living with my partner, there was a time when I actually got used to having sodas, and I was having a lot of sodas every day, every single day. And then all of a sudden I said to myself, well, do I really want to put this in my body? And we stopped having sodas, because it really is all about the calories. It makes you feel bloated and it doesn't really give you that much pleasure, right? Next thing that you can change, and this one is a huge change. I mean, it's a very small change, but it's going to make a huge difference in the way you look over time. This is add soup to your menu. Start eating soup, because French eat a lot of soup. If you have a nice vegetable soup at lunch, you're going to eat a lot less. You're going to see that the soup is actually very filling. At the same time, it doesn't give you a lot of calories, but you're going to feel full for longer. And this is one very easy change that anyone can do anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are, just start eating soup. Add this to your menu. It could be at lunch, it could be in the evening, but just make sure that you start your meal with a nice soup. It's going to fill you and you're not going to be that hungry. Another change that you can do is try to eat slowly, because if you eat slowly, your digestion is going to be better and you're going to notice when you're full. And stop, not exactly when you feel full, but when you feel a little bit hungry, not completely satisfied. And you're going to see that 5 to 10 minutes later, you're going to feel completely full. And this is a very Again, a very simple change that you can make, and also it's going to be good for your digestive system. The next change that is going to be relatively easy is going to be start with a nice nutritious breakfast. Not with something that contains sugar, because if you start eating sugar in the morning, you're going to crave sugar and you're going to be hungry in no time. So try to start the day always with a nice nutritious breakfast that does not contain sugar. You're going to see that this is going to make a huge difference in the way your body is going to work and function throughout the day. Less sugar is going to make you less sleepy, and it's going to give you a lot more energy, because the more sugar you eat, the more sleepy you become during the day. Just try it and you're going to see that probably I'm right. It's going to work for a lot of people. Eating a lot of sugar during the day is going to make you feel lethargic. Eating on the go. Now, this is a habit that you could try to avoid. You could try to make some time to sit down and eat, and you could try as well not to eat on the go during the day. If you feel hungry and if you crave a snack, get a fruit instead. An apple, for example, is going to make you feel full, but at the same time, it gives you vitamins, or a banana as well. It's going to give you vitamins, it's going to give you a lot of energy, it's going to make you feel full, but still it's not like a candy bar, it's a completely different thing. And then the last tip that I have for you is try to cook your food from scratch whenever you can. I know that this is not going to be possible for a lot of people. I know that there are a lot of people that are going to work from the morning until the evening and you really don't have time to cook. But during the weekend, at least, always try to cook your food from scratch. Try to enjoy a nice meal. Or if you're buying takeout, just make sure that you're buying some takeout that is nicely cooked from a restaurant, preferably where they don't use microwave oven, and try to improve the quality of the food that you are eating. I think that this is going to help you a lot. Also try to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables that you are eating per day. I think that these are some little changes that I know that you're not going to be able to do them all at once, all of them, but whatever you can do, it's going to be good for your health, it's going to be good for your body. So these are the tips that I can give you to ease the whole process and to make you feel a little bit better. And I'm confident that it's also going to help with long-term weight loss, but in a very healthy way, because you shouldn't be losing a lot of weight in a short period of time, because the body is never happy when it starts to lose a lot of weight over a short period of time. The whole idea here is not to adopt a certain diet, but the whole idea is to change little by little some of your habits and slowly building your own healthy habits and healthier lifestyle. This is definitely going to affect not only your body, but it's going to affect also the way your skin and your hair and your nails look. So that was my take on the French diet. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Don't forget to let me know in the comments where you're from and what is typical for your country. I would love to learn what people like to eat around the world and what are their eating habits. Don't forget to share with me something. I love when we share with each other. I love when you also communicate with each other. I think that we have the best community here of so many amazing, intelligent people, and let's lift each other up. Let's make this a very positive, safe place where we can all come and share our experiences. Once again, thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'm going to see you in my next video. A bientôt!